Hey everybody, Mike Slifer here with the First Alert Forecast Center. We have an action-packed First Alert Weather Extra for you as we look ahead to not only the end of August, but Labor Day weekend and the start of September. We'll be talking a bit about averages, where we've been so far this month, and what we're expecting as we head into really the last week of the month here. Less than a week to go now until we start off September. 1 week from today is September 1st, Labor Day Monday. You'll note on our calendar here, basically the first 8 days of the month were at or below average, followed by a 9-day stretch at or above average. And then that was followed by another cool snap through the early part and middle part of last week. Temperatures started to climb a bit through the course of the weekend, which is what we expected, where Saturday would be just a little bit warmer perhaps than Sunday, thanks to a little bit less in the way of cloud cover, and then today 85 degrees. We thought at one point maybe showers would be a bit more numerous, but we did not pick up any rain for the Hartford area specifically. So where does this put us for the month? Temperatures have sort of been all over the place. We've had days that have been unseasonably cool. We've had days that we were near record heat. Well, the average monthly temperature, 71.1 degrees. We are 2 degrees below average month to date. And when it comes to rainfall, specifically for the Hartford area, 2.43 inches, putting us at a deficit of more than 1 inch. But how about the shoreline? A little bit different if we look at Bridgeport's numbers. A 3.21 inch deficit for rainfall since the start of this month. Go back to the start of meteorological summer, June 1st. Over an 8-inch deficit, and now we are at over an 11.5-inch deficit since the start of the year. So it's the shoreline, southern Connecticut, into southern parts of our northern 4 counties that certainly need some rain. Abnormally dry conditions popping up essentially along and southeast of the I-84 corridor, and then this does not include extreme parts of northeastern Connecticut too. Basically cuts off around, say, Willimantic, Mansfield, points north. All right. Still could use some rain, points south in that abnormally dry outline. So the takeaway here is that some wet weather would be welcomed. We are not expecting much of that tomorrow, Wednesday, or Thursday. You're going to have to get out there and water those plants. The sprinklers, the hoses, the watering cans have all been getting quite the workout over the last several weeks. We expect that to continue. But we're looking at tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday on this graphic here. What about Friday? Well, we're giving you the first alert that there's at least a chance for some showers. At 7 a.m. Friday, models are in pretty good agreement that there will at least be some showers around. Where they start to fall apart is once we get a little later into the day. By 1 p.m. Friday, the American model basically has the showers winding down or wrapping up entirely. The European model, on the other hand, keeps them going. Not only that, but the European model is a little bit showing some heavier showers in the mix, so perhaps a greater chance at some more moderate rainfall. And by 7 p.m., the differences are still there. The European model continues to show rain, steadier, maybe a bit heavier, while the American model is showing everything to our east. So what does this mean? Well, essentially it means that we finally have a legitimate chance for some showers to work their way through the state, but it's far from certain. We've been watching for trends on either model, neither one really giving up on the solution that it's showing. So we'll continue to monitor. If this seems to be a little more impactful, especially out ahead of holiday travel, we will be the first to alert you. But in the meantime, we're at least keeping our eyes on Friday for the chance at some showers. Now, the good news is that does mean things would improve just in time for the holiday weekend. More on that in just a moment. 66 last night, 85 today, both numbers above average for the day. Relative to where we've been this month, it actually was fairly warm. Temperatures in many communities topped out between 80 and 85 degrees, mid and upper 70s in southeastern Connecticut, thanks to that onshore wind direction. Long Island Sound right now between about 70 and 75 degrees, so certainly a little bit cooler when the wind is coming off the water as opposed to some of the inland communities a little bit farther away from the sound. And we had a bit of an offshore wind in New Haven and Bridgeport helping to bump those cities up into the mid-80s. Now, it was also a bit muggy out there too, but, well, that's about to change. Andrew snapped this awesome picture of the sunrise as his flight was leaving Bradley this morning. This is looking to the east. The sunrise is in the east. And a lot of cloud cover. We can see multiple layers here. There are some low-level clouds, mid-level clouds, and high-level clouds. So pretty cool to see all the different facets of what we were dealing with. It was a pretty cloudy start if you were out early this morning, but that certainly changed as the day went on. Here's a live look on our iCam in Hartford right now. It's 76 degrees. Winds are to the southwest at 3 miles per hour. We'll take you live right now to the Elm City. It's currently 78. Calm winds, and overhead we see the stars, meaning skies are starting to clear up. We'll finish with our iCam view here in New London, where it's 68 degrees. Winds out of the southwest at 6 miles per hour. So a big jump in temperature from the 78 at Tweed, New Haven to 68 in Groton. 69 right now in Willimantic. We're at 76 in Hartford, but 66 in Meriden, 71 in Windsor Locks, 68 in Torrington, 66 in Salisbury, 68 in Putnam. If we show you the northeast perspective here, it's very easy to pick out where the cold front still is. So it's trying to work its way through. 67 in Albany, 64 in Syracuse, 63 in Buffalo, but keep heading west, 61 Cleveland, Ohio. So certainly noticeable there, and also when it comes to dew points. Earlier today, we had dew points that were up a bit. It was muggy outside. Not the case right now. Remember, the dew point is the measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. Higher dew point, the more muggy or humid or even oppressive that it feels. We're starting to see dew points back down into the 50s, fairly comfortable. To our west, we see dew points in the 40s in some spots, so that very dry air is going to work its way back into Connecticut. With calm winds, clear skies, we watch temperatures slip through the 60s as the night goes on, bottoming out in the mid and upper 50s inland tonight. Shoreline temperatures for the 95 corridor right around 60 degrees. Could be on either side of 60. So skies are clearing out. We become less muggy, setting the stage for what is going to be a great day tomorrow. Temperatures about 70 to 75 throughout the Litchfield Hills. We could see mid and upper 70s through the greater Hartford area, especially in the Connecticut River Valley with a bit of a westerly wind. Northeastern Connecticut topping out in the mid and upper 70s tomorrow too, setting the stage for what is going to likely be a very, very nice day. Great for outdoor activities and good for the kids heading back to school too. Temps will be in the 70s along the shoreline, thanks to that onshore wind direction, until you get to the greater New Haven area. Some low 80s expected. Inland towns in our southern four counties will also likely see temps in the, we'll say, upper 70s. Naugatuck's sort of the outlier there in the mid 70s. Now, it is going to be dry tomorrow, and that means that pollen counts are top of mind. We've been looking ahead to the fall pollen count, I should say. Tomorrow, high. Wednesday, medium to high. Thursday, medium to high. Ragweed and grasses, so typical fall pollen. If you are allergic to these counts are the ones that will be up high. So your first alert that you might be a little sniffly, a little bit sneezy here over the next couple of days. Now we have a cold front that will work its way closer to us tomorrow and eventually make its way through. But at the same time, it will be dissipating, weakening. So by the time it's offshore, maybe we see an isolated shower late tomorrow evening or through the overnight hours, but then we're dry heading into Wednesday, and high pressure will be building out of the Midwest. We're on the northern periphery of this high, helping to keep us dry and bright here in the state. And sometimes we talk about high pressure moving offshore and bringing some muggier air back to Connecticut. That's not the case. Even Thursday into Friday, ahead of our next front, which we mentioned earlier in our first Alert Weather Extra, not much of a change when it comes to humidity. It's still going to be fairly pleasant out there. And then we watch the dew points drop right back off on Saturday. We'll take you briefly to the tropics here. Tropical storm Fernan is still spinning away. A fish storm way out in the ocean, way northeast of Bermuda, moving away from any landmass. No concerns here, and nothing to share with you in the tropics outside of Fernan. Great. Quiet as we approach the peak of hurricane season in the Atlantic. To take things back home, maybe a shower at night tomorrow. Wednesday, 70 to, we'll say 75-ish, give or take. And temperatures by Thursday morning will be back around 50, some upper 40s in the typical cooler spots. We're forecasting 76 Thursday, 72 Friday with the increased cloudiness and the showers. On Saturday, it's UConn versus the Central Connecticut Blue Devils, and it is going to be a great game when it comes to weather. And it's always great to see a couple of Connecticut teams battle for it, too. So hopefully you're heading out to the Rent. If you are, there will be a lot of us there from Channel 3. Be sure to stay high. About 50 degrees Sunday morning, 51 on Monday morning. Shoreline highs go from 80 Tuesday to 76 Wednesday, back up to 78 Thursday. But we're forecasting 73 Friday, 74 Saturday, 76 on Sunday, and then near 80 on Monday for Labor Day, which, believe it or not, is actually still a little bit below average for this time of year. September 1st, average high temperature is 81. On the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here, these shades of blue indicate the higher likelihood that temperatures will remain below average. And something else we're seeing is that these shades of brown are working their way into Connecticut, meaning things likely stay drier than average. So we'll be watching very closely. If you recall, last fall as we entered the drought, we dealt with some fire weather concerns. Thankfully, wind does not look to be a big issue, and we're not quite there yet when it comes to the drought, but we're always looking ahead and down the line. Average high temperature for the Hartford area drops to 80 on September 2nd, so this week will be seasonably cool. And in about 3.5 weeks, we'll have our final 7 p.m. sunset of 2025. Mark your calendar for September 15th. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll leave up to you, but just letting you know where things are headed. Our one final check of the First Alert 7-day forecast. If you want to get this right in the palm of your hand, you can always do so through the free First Alert weather app. That shower chance tomorrow really not looking that impressive. The greater risk certainly arrives on Friday. That'll do it for our First Alert weather extra. At least on this part of the clock, 9:30 at night. The next one will be live here on WFSB Plus and YouTube at 8 a.m. You can join Jill Gilardi, Scott Haney tomorrow morning, and then join Mark Dixon and myself tomorrow afternoon and evening. We'll, of course, be updating anything that we see when it comes to the rain chances Friday, giving you the first alert. There might be some impacts to your holiday weekend travel, and then, of course, talking specifically about Saturday, Sunday, into Labor Day, Monday. Hope you all had an excellent start to the week. If you're heading back to school, or if you're a teacher, you're back at work, hope that things aren't too hectic for you. The weather this week will certainly cooperate. We'll see you back here tomorrow.